Alright, so here's how we're going to kind of deal with area and volume stuff, and I'll write the formulas down here in just a second, but the things that we're going to be focusing on are the volume of cylinders and cones. Alright, but I do want to start this off by looking at how to find the area of a box or a prism. So, if you don't know, the volume formula for any prism type shape like this, like a rectangular box, would be we're going to go, it's the base times the height times the width, or length times width times height, just depending on who you talk to on what it is. So basically what it comes down to is we need to find the area of this bottom shape here, or the top, depending on how you're looking at it. Okay, so we're going to find the area of that, and then we're just going to times by how tall it is. Okay, so in this case, we've got a 4 by 9 base, okay, or the bottom, and then we're just going to times it by how tall it is, which is 11. So 4 times 9 is 36, times 11 is 396 yards cubed. Okay, and so you might be thinking, okay, well, how does that help us figure out the volume of cylinders and cones? Because it's pretty much all the same formula. We're going to be doing the same thing. It's just we have to find the area slightly differently for the base or the bottom, I guess. Okay, so let's look at number 2, all right? Because this is going to be kind of more the ones you're going to be looking at. So let's just kind of try to compare these two. All right, so we're going to find the volume. Well, we're still going to kind of use this thing here. It's the base times the height times the width, or length times width times height. Or another way to think about it is it's the area of the bottom times by how tall it is. The problem is we just can't find the area of the bottom by going, length times width. So we have to find the area of the circle. Okay, so the area of a circle is figured out by going pi times r squared. Oh, that's a really bad pi. Okay, pi times r squared. And then we'll just times by how tall it is, which in our case is just, let's say it's the height. So this is our volume formula. Volume for a cylinder is equal to pi times r squared times h. Okay, now the big thing is that it does have to be r. It does have to be radius. Remember, a radius is from the center of the circle to the edge. Okay, so that would be the radius. Okay, so in our example here, our volume is equal to pi times 5 squared. Oh, that's really bad. Square. Times 10. Okay, well, 5 squared is 25. 25 times 10 is 250. So we have 250 pi. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, just to make it easier for you guys, because sometimes it's hard to find pi on a calculator, I'm just going to let pi equal, I'm just going to say that pi equals 3.14, and I'm just going to times by that. So I'm going to go 250 times 3.14, and I should get 785 centimeters cubed. Okay, let's do another one. Alright, let's do another cylinder one. Okay, alright, so we're still going to use our formula. Volume equals pi r squared h. Okay, well, here's our height, but now r. Remember, r is not the distance from edge to edge. R is the distance from the center to the edge. Well, if we know the whole thing is 18, that means, in this case, R has to equal 9. Okay? Alright? Because what this is here, this is the diameter. Okay? The diameter is equal to twice the length of the radius. right? So that's where this came from, is because I need this distance here. I need from the center to the edge, not from edge to edge. So that's why it's 9 and not an 18. Okay, now we'll use our formula. So now, since the radius is 9, we'll say that V is equal to pi times 9 squared, that's times 12. Okay, so 9 squared is 81. 81 times 12 is 972 times pi. And then we'll go 972 times 3.14 to get 3052.08. And that's what our volume is, and it'd be what? Miles cubed. Okay. And guys, I would really do it the way that I'm doing it. Figure out do all your calculations with your whole numbers, and then at the very end multiply by pi. Okay, that's how I would really do that. I would not do it all at once. You can, but I would stick to doing it this way. It's a little bit more consistent. Okay, so now we're going to switch from some examples with cylinders to examples with cones. Okay, but now if you think about kind of some of these shapes here, let me see if I can erase some of this stuff. If you kind of look at a cone, just looking at this, if we think of this cylinder here, if I were to have, instead of it being a top where it comes straight up, if I were to just kind of have it close up, that's how I can kind of just make it a cylinder. The same thing here, we could imagine that this is just like a cone or a cylinder. It's just, instead I've caved the top, I've kind of pushed the top in so it comes to a point. Okay, so our formula, our volume formula for a cone is going to be very, very similar to that of the cylinder, but obviously it's going to be less, okay, because I've pushed it in, so it's not going to be able to hold as much. Alright, and so you might be thinking it's like a half or a quarter, but it's actually 1/3. We're not going to get into why it's a third. Let's just say, go for the fact that it is. So our volume formula for a cone is equal to 1/3 the formula for that. So it's 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay. Now for this, what I would do, please don't panic about the 1/3. Just leave that until the very last calculation. Just find the volume of the cone by finding the volume of the cylinder of the same size, and then we'll deal with the 1/3 at the end. Okay, so we're gonna worry just about this part right here. We're just gonna worry about this, pi r squared h. Okay, so it's pi times 9 squared times 18. Okay, so 9 squared is 81. Times 18 is 1,458. And then it's still times pi. Okay, and then still technically that 1/3 still out in front. Okay, now let's put that parenthesis in a different spot. Let's put it around the 1/3 like I had it before. Okay, so 1,458 times pi, times 3.14 is 4,578.12. Okay, and there's still this 1/3 out in front. So to deal with that, to do this, don't think of it as a 1/3, just think of it as dividing by 3. So we're going to take this whole thing here, 4,578.12, and we're just going to divide it by 3. And we're going to get an answer that is equal to 1,526.04. Okay, so let's do another one here. Okay, let's do this number 5 here, and we'll call that good after this. So our formula again is volume is equal to, because it's a cone, it's 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, now again, This, like on number 3, it gave us the diameter. It gave us from edge to edge. We need the center to the edge. Well, that should be half the distance, so that means r equals 10. Alright, so our formula is equal to 1/3 pi times, instead of 20, it's 10 squared times 20. Okay, and again, I'm going to do this in parts. I'm going to start with these. Whoops. I'm going to start with these things here, and then I'll times by pi, and then I'll divide by 3 in that order. Okay, so 10 squared is 100 times 20 is 2,000. And then we'll times by pi, or times by 3.14. And then at the end we'll divide by 3. So 2,000 times 3.14 is 6,280. And then times by a third, or divide by 3. We're just going to think divide by 3. So this equals 2,093.3. Okay. Alright, so I hope this helps. And again, I'll be able to kind of help you guys. If you have questions, please just email me, but hopefully this gets you started. I do have a document too that has all the formulas on it to kind of help you, but the things that we're worried about today and this week would just be how to find the volume of your cones and the volume of your cylinders. Okay.